This one isn't a joke. The money's in the account. $500 request. Making asshole consulting history here as we speak, and this will go in the book. We're going to start from the beginning. And since he paid, I can't slam on him too much because he paid. Oh, all right, fair. Well played. Hey, schmuck fuck. Good luck keeping this anonymous. And I will, because this guy's very specific. So I don't want to identify him because he has he'd be easily identifiable, so we don't want to identify the guy. I think, well, man, I've become an expert at keeping people anonymous here. Good luck keeping this anonymous, but as you'll see by the end of this, I'm not 100% that I should stay anonymous. Yeah, you should. Though that would not be a choice, I take it all lightly. We can figure that out in the end. As the subject line makes clear, I grew up Jewish, mostly Ashkenazi, which backs up the family story that there was a Mongol somewhere in the shtetl. Born and raised in leftist crap hole. All right. No names, no places, no nouns, no verbs. Hope you like metaphorically and or metaphysically sucking this dick, because I'll happily spend some of my 6 figures in assets on you listening to my life story, you dirty duty cure. Or, just to be clear, because of the atrocious pronunciation. I was born, excuse me, 6 weeks premature at a particular year. He's a younger man. At 10:59 a.m., the ideal time to wake up, I still believe to this day, on what was supposed to be my parents' wedding day. They went with the date for the wedding because I wasn't due till later on in the year. And they were already secretly married. My dad, he provides a link, and the dad has passed away, unfortunately, rather early. My dad got shipped out to a foreign country right after getting Oma Prager's pregnasty, whatever, and since foreign country was transitioning from autocracy to democracy, they decided to get legally married before he left, just so he'd be covered if he died there, because transitioning is always a bit shaky. None of the family lived in leftist shithole. Mom is from other leftist shithole with son, and dad is from foreign leftist shithole with lots of fog. So in order to get people to actually show up, they didn't tell anyone they'd legally married and scheduled the ceremony for a certain date so that they could get the best. Well, okay, I got to say that April Fool's joke ever, right? April 1st. That's not going to identify you. Now, this was during one of my blackouts, but apparently I was having none of that shit and decided to be born. Actually, my mom's a bit of an overbearing OCD control freak. I know nothing stereotypical about that. And at the age of 25, when I was staying with my aunt in foreign town, she told me a story I was entirely unaware of to that point about the day before my very birth. Her and Ma were unloading stuff out of a hatchback, and my aunt told my Ma to take it easy, what with being 7 months pregnant, my Ma being not so young, but old, strong, independent boomer, told my aunt to go fuck herself, to which Auntie replied, "Do you want to have the baby tomorrow?" To which dear sweet mother slammed the hatchback closed, froze, let out an inhuman shriek, and fell to the ground screaming in pain. Anyways, while I can use paragraphs and am financially literate, I'm still a millennial, about 400 milligrams deep in edible territory. And I love pothead or drug people. I love people who do recreational drugs, because if you could afford that, you could afford my fee, which goes up drastically if I have to read nonsense and gibberish, either when people are drunk or high or whatever. and would like to take a break from writing to play VR, which will need all this comp's RAM, and I'll never get around to finishing and sending this if I just save it in a doc so we can keep in touch and I finish writing the rest later. If that's too much pain in the ass, I'll buy an hour of your time. Thanks, Cap. And then I just said to him, yeah, I charge $500 to do drug-laden requests. You don't even have a question as far as I can tell, which is true. I don't know what he wants. He writes back, well, fair enough, asshole. Basic outline. I am a tradesman, or not tradesman. I'm sorry. He's a serviceman of a type. He provides a service at an establishment, right? And we don't need to know what, because it's very precise what he does. But there's a thing. He's there and he provides a service on the campus, on the grounds where this company is located. Been there several years. Basic profit margin breakdown of the business. Revenue is 80% something, 10% private events, food and beverage 6, gift shop 4. Our job exists because they haven't figured out how to automate efficiently hurting the mouth breathers that is the common patron to my establishment, to the company he works at, that uses his service. Right? Y'all follow me so far? He's a guy who does a thing at a place. Customers come in, and he has to do his service for them to enjoy the place, right? And we don't let people use a different service as a backup because, first off, I'm in the back of the house, and secondly, you're roughly 400 times more likely to injure yourself doing it that way rather than using his service. Currently, we make $23 an hour, but one of our seasonals said that her aunt did our job in 1977, making $8 an hour, which is more than $40 in today's money, back when this place had less traffic and tickets were cheaper. They were a quarter. The service is a quarter cheaper today, adjusted for inflation, back then than it is today. They're charging 4 times as much for the service today. As soon as I found this out, I came up with a plan to make up the difference. You do a shtick on your job, okay? Write jokes, and have even gotten some notoriety for my performances, even though along with, you gotta be real careful. With other professionals at the establishment. So you're not the only one that does a service. There are other people who do other services at the place. And different people have voted to join our union, which is a weak, corrupt, woke, ineffectual, and general dogship a union, which mostly represents certain type of workers. It doesn't seem really care about backing us up here at my establishment. So you got kind of a dog shit. Well, yeah, they haven't even kept up with inflation. Well, unions haven't really done all that well in the past 50 years. Anyway, we're allowed to accept tips, but not ask for them. But after finding out how much our predecessors made, I started pushing it by ending my shticks with, and yes, I do accept tips. All of a sudden, my tips went from less than $20 a day to $30 to $70 on average per hour doing my thing. That is that is very impressive. And see, look, I'm with you on this. They were, goddamn, man. I'll mention the restaurant because it's closed. It was called Parma. It was in Bloomington. They had an East Indian dude. That man was by far the best waiter I'd ever had. Best service ever. Best service ever. I don't know where he is. I hope he's making $1 billion fucking dollars. But the guy he put effort into it. Sounds like you're doing the same. So your pay is $23 an hour, but you can more than double that on average. What is it? That's like 50. Yeah. You get $50 an hour with tips. Now you're that's 6 figs. You're doing good. And always great for the better part of the year, right? But no, good things can't last forever. I was making good money, carrying on the family tradition. I come from a long line of kind of performers. Then I was pulled into the office and told to sit down, unbeknownst to me. Uh, God damn, how do I do this one without identifying you? How do I keep your anonymity? God damn, there's so many things happening here where you're right, where you perform well enough with your little buskering, if we could call it that, that you achieve a reputation and some notoriety, which only marketed the company you're working for more. It was all good. It was all good publicity you got, right? Let's just say you got some publicity, right? It was all good. People liked it. There was nothing wrong. Uh, so you were pulled in, sat down, unbeknownst to me, uh, a tourist coming through, uh, got you some publicity, positive response. The company probably wasn't happy about the song choice. You're singing, literally singing, "This is great." And they told me you can't ask for tips, to which I replied, I didn't ask. I said, I just accept them. They came back with, if you're caught mentioning them on the thing again, you will be terminated. So yeah, now they're just being dicks. God damn, man. They just can't let you, no one complain, right? The better part of a year, things are going fine, right? All right. Since then, one of the old men in our department mentioned that we used to be in a different union. After some digging, it looks like that was probably a different union. I'm not going to list it here. Their locals make an average of $55 an hour doing what we do, minus all the traffic. Now I could just quit this job. I was going in 3 years ago. Da-da-da. Wow. Okay. God, man. For a pothead, you're very industrious. I got to give you that, man. I got to give you that. Now I could just quit this job. God damn. You have a side gig that pays a very other handsome amount per hour, but that job has way fewer hours, no sick leave, and no benefits. And I just enjoy it nowhere near as much as doing what you're currently doing now. So you enjoy your job now. That's so sad. You enjoy your job, you're making lots of money, everybody's happy, put an end to it, says management. Um, God, man, you have very little expenses. Let's just put it that way. You have very little expenses, and you have a very cheap place to live. So if you're doing both of these, your side gig and your main gig, and you're allowed to perform, do a little bit of shtick, you are making a lot of money with barely any expenses, and you enjoy probably both your jobs. For just outside of town, between my bank account, Roth IRA, and precious metals, I'm sitting on 120,000 that I've been built since starting at my place of employment not that long ago. At a low point of 7,000 to my name. So you built up from 7,000 up to 120,000, living very frugally, putting a significant amount more effort into work, and you got a side hustle, and you keep them in. Bravo, sir. Bravo. I'm very impressed. This is cool. This is going in the book. So I have leeway to have some fun, take advantage of the historical moment, and take revenge a limp dick DEI pushing useless fuckwads over at the main corporation. If I get fired, no big deal. That's why you save your money. Yeah, it is why you save your money. That is. They could have just let me earn tips and gain them extra attention, but now I'm planning to get our department into a good union and get them to pay us twice as much. Well, all right, hold on. All right, hold on. First, don't do pot while you're doing that, okay? Second, you gotta find out like if everybody else, I don't know, I don't work there, but I gotta imagine you're gonna have to talk to everybody, maybe talk to a union rep at the other union, see how a transition goes between one union to the next. And if it doesn't work out, I can memorize. Oh, you could expand your side gig doing a little bit of work. Anyway, our current union contract is set to expire at a certain date, so we got time to plot the best course of action. The only person in our department who isn't on board with the idea of switching unions is, of course, a person who, while made the reasonable argument that a union is its members and that splitting different departments between different unions could harm solidarity and lower our bargaining position. Once again, a reasonable argument, but she made sure to make it the most dismiss. Here's where the pot. Once again, a reasonable argument. But he made sure to make it the most dismissive, condescending, disingenuous, insulting way possible. Also, he is a power tripper known for playing both sides and who's helped turn the bottom end of management into a corrupt kind of angle thing. I really want to the absolute type that played safe, take no risk, and not even look into the idea that we might be able to double our pay by switching unions. Been talking to different guys in that work the grounds, and they all agree with me that we should be able to double our pay by switching unions. All right, well, I would talk to the new union first, see what they might look. There's no reason for you all to risk your jobs leaving one union. All right, like obviously that shouldn't. Don't talk about that. But nothing doesn't cost you anything to go to the other union that claims they can get you to pay more. They may not even take you on. That'd be the first step to find out if there is even another union that's going to take you on. I'll be perfectly honest though. If you were to sit down and focus on a skill or a trade, you probably excel at it. Okay. You're not hurting for money, but you got the industriousness and the creativity and ultimately the entrepreneurship that this job at $23 an hour, man, you can get that anywhere. So ultimately, your opportunity costs. I mean, how much do you like this job? I know you like it, but for $23 an hour, you can, I don't know, you could go drive truck for more than that. There's other things you could do. You got enough money, you could become an economy, you could be anything you wanted to be. Just set down the pot. No one hires pothead economists. Um, here's the other thing where this is it's so petty, you know. I understand you could double your pay. It's worth a call to the other union, right? It's worth a call. See if that's possible. If it's feasible, all right, now you're talking really serious money. They might fire y'all if you try to go to a different union. I'm just letting you know. But this hemming and hawing, just to get in your area, 23 is barely a living wage, barely. I mean, you can do it, but yeah, you have a side gig working too. Um, you could lose the job, you'd be fine. I'm thinking more like you don't want your mouth to ruin everybody else losing their job kind of thing. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, just don't get because they'll just fire you, right? They'll just fire if you're the one mouthing off and hey, yeah, let's join the union, guys, let's go. Yeah, they're gonna bust you out. So I wouldn't even talk to the other person you're talking about. Well, you said you got everybody else on board except for one person. Hang on, let me go back to this again. Contract ends at a certain point. Oh, so okay, so you could be because the contract ends, you guys could go shop around for another one. All right. Only person, one person is not up for it. Okay. Okay. All right. Trump has ditched the corporate world, going whole hog on organized labor. A rep for the Teamster Union was a keynote speaker at the RNC, so I'm sure he'd love the optics of backing up some blue collar workers, find the DEI club of Karens. Dude, I would, dude. Huh? Remember you union guys voting Democrat all the time, which they didn't do anything for you. And now the Democrats are the trust fund Karens. Ooh, I don't want to be a mechanic. Gross. I don't want to work in the carpool. Oh, who's your friends now, union people? Um, so I sure he'd love the optics of backing up some blue collar workers fronting the DEI club of Karens at corporate. Yeah, Trump doesn't know who the hell you are. He doesn't even know this place exists. I mean, it sounds like a nice place that you work at, but it's not like famous or nothing. uh Back in a certain okay, then you tell me one celebrity that visited several years ago. Okay. That that doesn't mean I've been into restaurants and cafes where, like, yeah, Burt Reynolds was there. He signed it. People got to eat somewhere, but that doesn't make this super famous or anything. Uh, I made sure I got to serve this celebrity. We schmoozed and had a nice conversation so I could reach out to him if he responds. That could maybe give me some access to get his story to someone in the Trump administration. You're going to call you think the president of the United States, who currently right now, okay, the president elect of the United States, who right now is busier than all shit, is going to get into some kind of labor dispute on some small little company where you guys are at $23. That ain't going to happen. No, come on, really? Because a truly tangential, God damn it, man, this is a weird but good life you're living. A obscure celebrity that does not know Trump personally probably is not going to, oh, yeah, let me call in my favor. Anyway, just wanted your opinion. This request is mostly for entertainment, but if you have any useful insights, suggestions, opinions, and or happen to know someone I should talk to, all the better. All right, all right. First, don't get your buddies fired. All right. The contract isn't due tomorrow or anything like that, but I would contact the other union and just see if it's even feasible. That would be the first thing. Now, here, I don't know how labor negotiations go with you're working with a group of guys. Can any one of you guys just go talk to the other union? Or do you have a representative that speaks to the current union you got now that would then go talk to the other union if you wanted to switch? But I can't imagine there's anything wrong or stopping anyone from go talk to the other union. Say, hey, here's our situation. Is that possible we could join your union instead? Or are there things that are different that, oh no, you don't cover us or stuff like that. So and then talk to them about the feasibility and what are the proper channels by which to go and do that. Uh, Beyond that, I'm not an expert in labor disputes or how one goes from a union shop to a non-union shop or vice versa from one union to the next. But they will. They're part of the union. They are the union. They would know what the process is. But I would not be rocking no boats or don't say anything about it. Don't say nothing about it because you don't want you, let alone your friends and coworkers, losing their jobs. All right. So that would be and I would do it on your free time. Don't do it on lunch. Don't tell anyone you're doing it because then the bosses, if they catch wind of it, they're like, why the hell are you doing that? And now you're out of a job that you don't need, but you like to have. The other thing is, how much do you like the job? You like working there, it sounds. Would you be okay just making $23 an hour? Because here's the thing. Are you right? Are you providing value? Are you making good money? Could the other people, if they provide the added value like you do, could they make more money? Yeah, probably. Should your bosses be on what are you doing? I mean, you don't want it to become a routine that everyone does it, I guess. But yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I- if you were my employee, I'd be you're making how much? I'm like, all right, you can't ask for tips, okay? But you can, I don't know, leave a bucket out or so. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's their company, right? If they want to manage it, they can manage it however they want. That's their right. It is their right. And no matter how logical or illogical it is, at the end of the day, that's their ship. Those are their assets. So if you like your job at $23 an hour, don't do it. I mean, do it for fun, right? I'm sure it passes the day well. But I would not. If you like to keep your job, yeah, just follow their rules. Just do it. But man, I would also poke around to see if there's other stuff you can do. There's got to be some, and I even say maybe theater or something. If you wouldn't make any money in it, but I'm thinking more entrepreneurial. I think your side gig, if you can make $100 an hour at your side gig, dude, I'd ramp the fuck out of that shit. That's what I'd be doing full time. And then you're not worrying about, if you could make $100 an hour full time, who gives a shit about 55? I do know you have your benefits and compensation and insurance though. But do you have any useful insights, suggestions, opinions, or happen to know someone I should talk to all the way? No, I don't know anyone. Don't contact that guy to contact Trump. That guy probably won't even pick up his phone. P.S. In all your rants about IQ, you've never mentioned how people at Mensa level 98th percentile 130 and up disproportionately have lopsided IQs, and how that only happens at the top end of the distribution. You lost me. Like there's a bunch of people at Mensa that are 140 plus, and the minority is 130 to 140 or something. When I got my results from the neuropsych testing, the doc told me that if there's a difference between IQ components of more than the standard deviation, 15 points, then they throw out the average and just use the highest component as the score, because otherwise a whole lot of great geniuses would have average IQs. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like you guys are really good at math or something, but then you don't know how to talk to a girl. Right. I didn't think the Welsher test, I don't think that WAIC2 test, it's been a while. I don't think it does that. Anyway, here's my components: perceptual reasoning, 25th percentile, working memory, 37th percentile, processing speed, 23rd percentile, and then verbal comprehension. So you're horrible at everything else. Maybe it ain't the pot. No, no joke. Okay, great question here, buddy. Were you high when you took the test? Verbal comprehension 132. Where's math? What about math? It's been a long time since I took an IQ test. Could recall. I mean, I remember having to create my own algebra problem or formula to figure out one of the problems. I know there was probably a better method, but I figured it out. I didn't get uh into acting because I thought I was special, just that talking was all I was good at. And as a little kid, you figure you're supposed to do what you're good at. And talking was the only talking job I knew of, only to realize at 18 that probability and job statistics were a thing. Last job I had working with my hands was not too far away from entertainment. There's entertainment in that field. I was absolute dog shit at the job. How can you be dog shit at that job? You either do it or you don't. Are you lazy? Were you high? The other deckhands told me as such, and I agreed. We worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, oh, okay. So you would have, okay, so you guys were working a regular blue collar type of job, and then were performers that you would run across, and to you it seemed like they had a better gig. Uh, Working a few hours a day, talking and singing. On stage, you probably got paid a lot better than all of us. No, no, probably not. You'd be shocked how little performers are paid. Like people on TV, oh wow, that's the she's the weather gal. Yeah, she's probably paid not that much. If it's the morning weather gal, probably not that. Midday weather, no, not that much. That's when I decide to never again waste my time or employer's money by ever getting a job working with my hands again. And so far, I haven't. Yeah, you chose not to work. Anyways, thanks, Fucklehead. Let me know how you want the money. Sent a couple others. Also, here's a poem I wrote about my job back in the day when I was a leftist asshole. I'd like to personally thank you, Joker and St. Kevin, for all helping to de-radicalize me away from the dogshit political opinions I thought I held from 2008 to 2020. Oh, yeah, the poem. See, here's the problem. God damn it, man. You identify yourself here, too. I loved it. Oh, God. It's a good poem, man. It's a good poem. And then you have your grandpa. See, you got a rich culture with your family, man. I wish I could link to this. I can't. I can't. I want you to keep your job. Look, it seems to run in your family's blood. Okay, this performance thing. Um, I would keep leaning towards that where you can make money. I'm not saying you're going to go and become some Oscar winner, and probably don't want to become an Oscar winner because those actors suck. But with your creativity, just sat the fuck down and studied and stopped doing the pot. And again, you probably don't need it, man. You probably don't need it, but you could become an engineer or, a doctor if you wanted to or whatever. Um, you're definitely one of the most unique clients I've ever had, where I rarely say, "Oh yeah, you should go into acting or theater." I mean, podcasting. Have you thought about that, man? See, the problem with theater and acting is you might be great at it, but it could be 10 years before you're recognized. I mean, I think Gary Cooper wasn't until he was in his 40s before he started making good money. And if you enjoy doing theater or theatrical things, there's a small niche where you get paid for it. But otherwise, you have to volunteer and, you're not getting paid going to improv or whatever. But I'm not kidding, man. It's we're lucky to be alive because if you got a personality and a charm, if you got some character, that will parlay on very well on the podcasting, YouTubing world. And if you do set up a YouTube or something like that, you don't have to be political, all right? You could be funny, you could be entertaining. Just be you. Talk about whatever you want. Don't mention me or Joker or Kevin Samuels. Just find your own audience. You don't want to have like a history like, oh yeah, I listen to this guy who's very controversial, and then you would lose half your audience because you happen to know me, and Democrats hate producers like me. That's how it goes. Just how it goes. Half the population don't want to produce. They're going to hate people like me, and then by association, they wouldn't want to listen to you. So I would, because it doesn't take that much time, not that much money. But yeah, man, have you thought about doing a podcast or YouTube or something on whatever it is you want to do? You'll figure something out. um, and then that way, ideally down the road, with your flamboyancy and performance, you could maybe have yourself an audience, and you wouldn't have to be worrying about unions or some kind of average blue collar work. Uh, yeah, then I can't do that. I can't. God dang it, man! I wish I could show the audience. I really wish I could. Uh, Sent you the money under the heading never admit that you're high. I mean, it's a rule I follow at work, though I guess it pays for itself, since there's a definite positive correlation between how high I am and how much I get in tips. While tour guiding, how much I got. Uh, during the months I did performances, mostly because it's the only way I can have a genuine smile on my face while doing my job. Doesn't matter where they're from. The average person is mind-numbingly stupid regardless. This is you don't get to know them yet. You don't get to know them yet. He hasn't left the account. No, I got it. I got it. He's following up, making sure. I got it, man. I got it. Thank you. Uh, yeah, that was interesting. And whatever you end up doing, if you do end up doing some kind of internet thing, do let me know, and I can maybe send you traffic, but don't say you know me. That kind of thing. But there it is. All right. Let's go to the super chats. Dre, $2. Did he use text to speech, block text, and life story? No, he wrote it correctly. It's just because it's so chock full of, he's a unique guy. You'd be able to identify this guy in half a second if I gave you the details. Not public, he's not a public figure, but you would know where he works, what he does. You're like, oh, well, there's not that many types of places like that in that town. And that's his unique job. I could figure out who he is. So he wrote just fine, except for the first part where he was high. And he just wanted to tell his life story. But I don't mind it because it's actually different. It's unique. Dre, $2. Did he ask for a business idea and how to get the girls? Nope. I think he just wanted to jibber jabber a little bit. Christoph and on $5. Gamma male will make any sacrifice to show everyone he's a clever boy and superior, including paying $500. You should have demanded 5,000. I didn't think I'd get the 500. Now I charge the 500 because it is a pain for me to read through drunk or high texts, especially where there's no question. Plus, the main reason, even larger reason than that. Look, if you could afford pot, you could afford me. I had a prospective client who was this Marxist leftist girl in the Twin Cities, and she majored in dumb shit, and she was also kind of an aspiring actress of sorts. And just bad mistake after bad mistake after bad mistake. And I realized, like, oh, and I looked her up, and I'm like, oh, you're this rabid leftist. Like, you hate people like me. I'm like, nope, it's gonna be $400. And literally emailed me, I thought I made it clear that I'm having troubles. And I just said, yeah, but you blew 40 grand on this worthless horseshit degree so you could afford this. She told me to fuck off. She's still, and this is like 5 years ago. I remember this request coming in. I looked her up. She's still there. Still this. I'm not kidding. The best deal I ever come across her place was to pay me my $400 and to follow the advice I would have given. And then, okay, you pay me $400. I'll tell you the truth. Stop majoring in dumb shit and get a real job. Ray. No, I thought classic fucking college educated millennial. I thought I explained that I'm having hard difficulty and you should make it easy for me. Not how it works, sweetheart. That's why you're in the problem you're in right now. Drewski, $5. Is astronomy a worthless STEM degree? Yes. Yes, you're largely dependent on astronomy is fascinating, but there's very little profit or like commercial use to it. I love hello, wonderful person. Anton. I love astronomy podcasts. I love them. They're great. They're very interesting, but there's really no money. It kind of is a charity welfare jobs program. Now, it's not a cheap one either. Those telescopes are expensive. The Webb thing, that's pretty pricey. I think it was $16 billion. But yeah, you are basically going to be at the mercy of government budgets, doing research. I don't know about aerospace engineering, and then you want to maybe go astrophysics for an advanced degree, because then the aerospace engineering, there'd be a fair amount of overlap. Then you'd have a job, and then you could always get a PhD in astronomy or something. But then you'd actually have a real job. You wouldn't be like begging with a cup in your hand. No, really, we need a $10 million telescope. Really? No, for reals. And if you want to learn about space stuff, just watch podcasts. What do you want to learn? Yeah, well, I mean, you learn all this stuff for free. You don't have to study 8 years. Oh, Christian Patton, $2. Where can I find a Snoopy sweater like yours? I got this at Walmart. I saw it. I'm like, I gotta get it, man. I gotta get it. And People think, "Are you ever change it?" It's like, well, it's starting to get cold here, so this is like my standard go-to sweater. Zeke, $2. Why are my tax money going to English teachers again? Because miserable, pissed off middle-aged women need jobs too. And we need to give all boys who are perfectly fluent in English C's and D's to make them feel good. Not the boys, the pissed off, angry teachers. English teachers are the worst. They're the fucking worst. Just like already, look, you're a teacher, so already you're bias selected for laziness. You just don't want to work a real job. Then you pick the language that the nation speaks. And the kids you get when they're 5 years old, I'm not saying they're fucking Shakespeare, but they're fluent in English. Maybe a little bit of reading and writing by about the time you're fourth or fifth grade. Get the fuck out of here with your English. Now we're dissecting sentences. What's an adverb versus an adjective? I still don't know to this day. Yet here I am. You diphthongs and your diagrams, and you do that until you got to do freshman comp in college. Fuck off already with the English. How about how to do my taxes? Nonstop Dre, $2. Does a great one work in the theater. Yeah, kind of. More so he did in Fort Collins. Here it's not so much. I mean, theater's looped into it. Hey, Thomas Lund. Oh my God, $5. Shout out to my second job security guard. Third shift guys out here. Thanks, Cat. Nice, Thomas. Good for you. Oh, Landrum. I'm sorry. London, I confused you with Thomas Landrum. You kind of look like the guy too. That's why I thought it said Landrum. $5. Security guard. Well, God, I would love to. I don't need another super chat. I'm kind of curious where you're working. What, Tom? Email me at Asshole Consulting. Let me know what kind of security gig you got. Like downtown, skyscraper, warehouse. Dre, $2. A dog beater wearing a Snoopy sweater. How ironic. And Doc Paradox, $2. Still doing it in the shower. Fortified her heels. Huh? What are you talking about, Doc? Still doing it in the shower, fortified her heels. All right, there you guys go. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. I'll see you guys later, Toodles.